just yesterday, July 11th, 2025, something really tragic happened, an event that's hit one American family incredibly hard.
Yeah, it's tough news.
We're talking about the death of a 20-year-old American citizen, Sayfollah Musallet, known as Saif, in the West Bank. So for this deep dive, we're going to unpack a recent ABC News report. It's dated today, July 12th. And the idea is to help you get a handle on the cool details and also the different perspectives around this really complex incident.
Right. Our goal is pretty straightforward. Give you a clear, concise understanding, pulling directly from what this report says, so you can quickly grasp the key information without getting sort of bogged down.
Exactly. It's about cutting through the noise a bit, giving you that informed shortcut from this one source as the story develops. Okay, so let's dive right in. What does the ABC report tell us about what happened to Saif, specifically from his family's perspective?
Well, the family's account and Palestinian health officials seem to back this up. It paints a really harrowing picture. Sayfollah Musallet, 20 years old, from Florida, visiting family in Sinjal, north of Ramallah. They say he was allegedly beaten to death by Israeli settlers.
Beaten to death. And what were the circumstances, according to them?
They say he was trying to protect their land from settlers, was surrounded for like over 3 hours. And crucially, they claim an ambulance was blocked from reaching it. He died before he even got to the hospital.
Oh, that's awful. And the report mentioned someone else, too.
Yes, the Palestinian Health Ministry also reported another man, a second man, was shot dead in these same attacks. So not just Saif.
And the report tries to sort of set the scene, give some physical context.
It does. It mentions things that give you a sense of the place, like a fence built by Israeli forces around Sinjal, also an Israeli settler outpost nearby, and even concrete blocks that were apparently put there by Israeli soldiers, making it hard for Palestinians to get around. It helps you, picture the environment where this all unfolded.
That physical division adds a layer, doesn't it? But, as often happens, there's usually another side, another narrative presented. What about the Israeli Defense Forces? The IDF, what's their statement say?
Right, exactly. The IDF put out a statement. They acknowledge they're aware of reports regarding a Palestinian civilian killed and a number of injured Palestinians. They say these reports are being looked into by the ISA, that's Israel's internal security agency, and the Israel police.
Okay, so they're aware and investigating. Do they offer their own version of events?
They do offer some specific details. Their account says that initially, rocks were thrown at Israeli settlers adjacent to Sinjal, causing light injuries. And then, shortly after, a violent confrontation developed in the area involving Palestinians and Israeli civilians. And they list what that involved: vandalism of Palestinian property, arson, physical clashes, and rock hurling.
So a very different sequence and framing. Rock throwing first, then a broader confrontation.
Precisely. And having these two, quite different accounts side by side really shows you the challenge.
Yeah.
Getting a complete objective picture right after something happens in a conflict zone is incredibly difficult. It really depends on who you ask.
Yeah, absolutely. It underscores why we need to look at all the available information carefully. Let's turn back to Saif himself. What does the report tell us about who he was, beyond being the victim in this?
His family shared some really moving details. He was born in Florida, lived in Tampa. Apparently, he ran a successful business there, quite young. He had only traveled to the West Bank recently, on June 4th.
So just over a month ago?
Yeah, just over a month. His family described him as, quote, a kind, hardworking, and deeply respected young man working to build his dreams. They also mentioned his generosity, ambition, and connection to his Palestinian heritage. It really helps, humanize him beyond the headline.
Definitely gives you a sense of the person and the aftermath. What's happening now? What are the family asking for?
They're demanding justice, very clearly. They're specifically calling on the U.S. State Department. They want the State Department to lead an immediate investigation and hold the settlers they say killed Saif accountable.
They used some strong words in their statement, right?
They did. They called it an unimaginable nightmare and injustice that no family should ever have to face. It's powerful language, understandably.
Understandably, yes. And the U.S. State Department, how have they responded to this call from the family?
A spokesperson did confirm that a U.S. citizen died in the West Bank on July 11th. But they followed up by saying they have no further comment out of respect for the privacy of the family and loved ones, which is, a fairly standard response in these kinds of sensitive situations.
Right, privacy concerns. But did they say anything else about protecting citizens?
They did reiterate their general stance, affirming that, quote, the U.S. Department of State has no higher priority than the safety and security of U.S. citizens overseas.
Okay. Now, this brings us to something else the ABC report points out, a broader context that's, well, it's pretty sobering. Saif isn't the first American citizen killed in the West Bank recently.
No, he's not. And this is a key piece of context the report provides. He's the fifth American killed there since the war between Israel and Hamas started back on October 7th, 2023.
And just to remind everyone, that war began after the Hamas-led terror attack where 1,200 Israelis were killed.
Correct. And understanding this pattern, this number 5 Americans, is really important for you, the listener.
Yeah.
It helps grasp the human cost and the ongoing tensions, the real dangers in the region.
It's a grim statistic. Does the report name the other 4 Americans?
It does. It lists them. Tawfiq Abdel-Jabbar, he was 17, killed January 18th, 2024. Then Mohammed Al-Dor, also 17, killed February 10th, 2024.
So young.
Very young. Then Asner Agi, he was 26, killed September 6th, 2024. And Amer Rabi, just 14 years old, killed April 6th, 2025.
14. Wow. Seeing that list really drives home the point about the human cost you mentioned.
It really does. It shows this isn't just a one-off tragedy, but part of a deeply concerning pattern affecting American families, too.
So we've covered the immediate incident, the conflicting accounts, who Saif was, the aftermath, and this wider tragic context. We live in a world just flooded with information, don't we? And trying to discern the truth, especially when you have such different initial stories, is key. This deep dive, drawing just from this one ABC News report, laid out those distinct perspectives on Saif Musallet's death. So maybe a final thought for you to consider. When you hear about complex events like this with sharply diverging narratives right from the start, what does that tell you about how these stories get reported? And, maybe more importantly, what questions does it raise about the challenge of finding accountability and real understanding in places marked by such deep conflict?